Misfire. Howdy folks, I'm Darren and welcome to Cross Timbers Outside. Glad to have you with us on this beautiful, beautiful day. Gorgeous day the Lord's made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. We're back down at our little shooting range again with our Pedersoli Scout Carbine 32 caliber Flintlock. And this will be our third session shooting this gun. We done our very first video on this gun, as you may recall, with our initial 12 shots I think we put through it. And since then I brought it back to the range and shot again off camera. And I shot it with some different patch material. Well, actually the same patch material, but no longer cutting at the muzzle, because the sharp edges on this barrel at the muzzle was cutting my patches when I was using a strip of pillow ticking and cutting at the muzzle. On the last video we had some inaccuracy, and that was to be expected. First time we'd ever shot the gun, learning what it liked, what it didn't like. And I did notice when I was cutting those patches, when I would start the ball and I would pull the patch material up to take my patch knife to cut it, about every third time I shot and I pulled the patch material up to cut it, it was already cut in places. And what that is doing is allowing blow by. And when I talk about blow by, what I mean by that is you pull your powder down your barrel. Okay, imagine my fist here is your powder charge at the bottom of your barrel next to the breech. You put your patched round ball down over it, okay? And when that charge ignites from the flash in the pan or a percussion cap, whatever you're using, and your patch material is not sealed, it allows gases to go by your patch and around your patched round ball, and you're losing velocities, you're losing accuracy. It's important to have a good patch down around that ball over that powder charge to get the full potential of that ignition and that powder burning in there to accelerate that patch and ball out the barrel or the ball. And when you have blow by, you're losing velocities, you're losing gases out the end of your barrel, and you're not getting full benefit of that powder, and you're losing accuracy. Number two is this barrel is not coned very much at all, and it had sharp edges around what little bit it was coned. And when I would start that ball down in this barrel, those sharp edges was cutting that patch material. Since then I've done a little bit of coning on the barrel. I've still got more to go, but I did a little bit. Now let's back up to that first session. I tried a 310 and a 315 round ball, both in this rifle. And both of them was hard to start. Now once you got the ball seated down in the beginning of the muzzle and it formed to those lands and grooves, then it would load on down pretty normal. A 315 ball was super difficult to start, super difficult. A 310 ball was a little hard to start, but not near as bad as a 315. So we're going to stay with a 310 round ball. And I came back to the range earlier in the week and I shot a little bit more with this rifle. And I used a pre-cut patch. It's still 18 pillow ticking, but it was pre-cut. I think I ordered these maybe from Log Cabin Shop a couple years ago. They're pre-cut specifically for 32 caliber muzzleloaders. And I used a pre-cut patch where I don't have to cut it at the muzzle. And it done better. My accuracy was somewhat better. And the patches, I found a couple of them after I shot them, and they were not cut up and didn't have holes in them like the ones were where I was cutting them at the muzzle. And maybe it done better. We're gonna try it again today with a pre-cut patch. And last time I did use Track of the Wolf Trapper's Mink Oil as a lube. I forego the Hoppy's black powder lube. It done really good, but I wanted to use what I'm gonna use as a hunting load. This is a hunting rifle. This is not just a target shooting rifle, it's a hunting rifle. So I've determined I'm just gonna use what I'm gonna use hunting. And the gun did pattern better with those pre-cut patches and the Trapper's Mink Oil. So that's what we're gonna experiment with again today. Okay, I've had some problems with this rifle. All is not well in muzzleloader land with this gun. After that second session on the range, I took the gun back to my shop and it's time to clean it. So I had not pulled the lock off this gun to that point. So at this point, after the second session, it had had 20 shots or so through it. It was time to do a thorough cleaning. Pull the lock off, pull the flash hole liner out, or touch hole, whichever you want to call it. Clean everything thoroughly. Now, after the first range session, I did clean the barrel and clean everything, but I didn't take stuff off to clean it, okay? After that second session here on the range, it was time to disassemble and really clean this gun. And that's when I ran into problems. When I went to take the lock off this gun to clean it, pull the lock off. It's important that you pull the lock off to clean it. To clean in behind that lock, get all that powder residue and everything out of there, get it cleaned and oiled and everything good to go. When I went to pull this lock off, if you can see on this side of the gun, there's two lock bolts, one here and one here, okay. This lock bolt was the first one I tried to take out. And it was in that gun so tight, it took all the strength I had to break that bolt loose. It barely came loose without stripping the head of the bolt, but it did come out. I went to take the second one out. It would not budge. I don't care what I did. I tried all my strength, downward pressure, everything I could do. This bolt would not budge. Would not move. No matter what I did, it would not move. So, I tried every type of screwdriver I had to fit into that slot on that bolt to get that bolt out. And I mean, it wouldn't even move a fraction. None. That bolt was in this lock like it had been put in there and set in concrete. Would not budge. I even took the gun and turned it up and put some creeping oil on those threads on this side of the lock and let it set overnight. Went back the next day, it still would not budge. I tried every ounce of strength I had to get that bolt to turn and it would not. And eventually the slot in the bolt stripped. Very disappointed. Why would anybody put bolts in a lock that tight, that hard, and that tight? Was it put in by a machine? Okay, I don't know, but it was ridiculous. So what did I do? Take a brand new gun to a gunsmith. Yep. Had to take this Pedersoli to a gunsmith to see if he could get that bolt out of that lock. Okay, when I went to his shop, and he's a very reputable gunsmith, went to his shop, explained what was going on. He took some very specialty gunsmithing screwdrivers and stuff and tried to get this bolt out. He couldn't budge it. He took some different tools and popped it and hammered it, you know, try to break the seized threads up a little bit, would not budge. He finally said, Darren, just leave the gun with me and I'll work on it later this evening, and if I can get the bolt out and get your lock off, I'll call you to come get it at that point. And I said, okay, it'll be fine. So the next day he called me and he said, Darren, you can come pick up your gun, I've got your lock off. And I said, I'll be over in a little while. So later on, I went and picked up the gun. And he had gotten the lock bolt out, and he told me, he said, man, that thing was in there. And he showed me the bolt that he got out, and I've got it in my pocket. Let me show you this. Okay, there's the threads. Okay, here's the other end of the bolt, the lock bolt. You notice there's no head on it now? He literally had to drill this down in this lock bolt and use a tool to then turn it to get it out. That's how tight that bolt was in that lock. Straight from the factory, it never been out. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Especially when you've paid 4 digits for a brand new rifle and you have to take it to the gunsmith the second time you shoot it. Or really the first time you try to break it down to clean it. It won't come apart. And I've been working a little bit on the muzzle, coning here to get rid of those sharp edges. What do I think of the Pedersoli? Well, that's yet to be seen. Accuracy's yet to be seen. We're still trying to work up a load for it. This gun may shoot fantastic once we get the load developed for it. It may be my go-to rifle. I don't know. We're still trying to develop that load. But what do I think of it initially? The finish and fit of this rifle is okay. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. The other things that's went wrong with it, the lock would not come out. The lock bolt's so severely over tightened that I couldn't get them out. Okay, you saw, while I'm on that topic, you saw the lock bolt that the gunsmith had to drill to get out because the head was stripped. I had tried and tried and tried and it would not budge. He couldn't even get it to budge. So eventually he just had to drill it to get it out. And he preserved my threads and everything. He done a wonderful job. He did not damage the threads in the lock. But that one bolt, it was ruined. And I knew it would be. There's no other way to get it out. You're gonna have to do something to that bolt just to get it out. Okay, the lock bolt on this gun was obviously one of them. It's got 2. But the one that would not come out, the gunsmith had to drill. That bolt was ruined from that point on, and I knew it would be, and he knew it would be. There's no other way to get it out. You're going to have to ruin that bolt and then replace it. So, the day I took it to him, when I got home, I sent Dixie Gun Works, and that's where I bought this rifle. Now, bear in mind, this is a Pedersoli rifle. Dixie Gun Works did not build this rifle. To my knowledge, Dixie Gun Works don't even open the box. They buy these guns imported through Pedersoli. They import them. They sell them through their U.S. store, and they just ship them out. They probably don't even open the box. So Dixie Gun Works had nothing to do with these bolts being in this gun so tight. The fit and finish not perfect. The sharp muzzle, they had nothing to do with none of that. They're just the distributor or the seller, the retailer, maybe I should say. Okay, I sent Dixie Gun Works an email and explained my situation, that I had a lock bolt that would not come out and it was stripped and it was ruined and I was going to have another lock bolt. And do they have them in stock? I didn't even know if they did or not. That's all I said. I didn't order one. I didn't say I need one. I just explained my situation and said, hey, do you keep these bolts in stock? And I was waiting on a response. When they responded yes or no, if they'd have said yes, I was going to say, well, here's my, my account. I'm going to order 1 or order 2, whatever. Ship them to me and here's payment. Shout out to Dixie Gun Works. Huge shout out. Before I even could say, send me one, I just asked a question, do you have them? And told them the situation. The very next day, I got an email back from Dixie Gun Works saying that I had an order shipped to me. You talk about fantastic customer service. 2 rifle barrels up for Dixie Gun Works. Y'all are fantastic. They sent me a new lock bolt, did not charge me a single penny. I didn't even really have to say, please send me one. I just told them the situation and they automatically sent me a new lock bolt. Thank you, Dixie Gun Works. Your customer service is second to none. Thank you, and you have my business from now on. You guys are fantastic. Dixie Gun Works, 2 thumbs up. Okay, back to this rifle. We do have our lock back in it. Our new bolt came from Dixie Gun Works, and we have our lock back on. And I've put them back in at a reasonable tightness. And we're ready to shoot this gun some more today. We're gonna start developing a load for it. So thanks for being with us. Let's go start rolling some black powder smoke. We've swabbed out our barrel, got all the oil out of it, all the way down to the breech, and cleaned out our flash pan and everything real good. Where we had it stored, we had a light coating oil down the barrel. We swabbed all that out. We're ready to start loading our gun for the first time today. And again, we're going with 20 grains of powder, 3F. Time for 20 grains of powder down the barrel. Okay. And you hear the ramrod rattling. Maybe I'll just take that ramrod out for the day. Okay. Matter of fact, I think I will. Okay, we are going to be shooting a 310 round ball with a pre-cut .18 pillow ticking patch. And I already have my patch in the trapper's mink oil soaking. And this mink oil's been sitting out in the sun, so it's good and moist. Okay, I'm gonna square this up right on the muzzle. Take our 310 ball, get it right in the center of the patch, right there. All right, now we're gonna take our short starter. Okay, that went down in a lot easier since I've done a little bit of coning work on this gun. Okay, it's short started. Now we're going to take our range rod and push it home. Okay, the barrel main charge is loaded. We've still got a primer pan, but before we prime our pan, I do want to set our main charge of powder, our little flask of powder, away from where we're shooting. Okay, we are going to prime our pan. There we go. Pan is primed. Okay, we are shooting at 30 yards. Good ignition. There, shot number one. That first shot hit right on the money. Exactly where I was aiming. No flinch, no pulling. That was a good smooth shot. That's the way you want them all to go. All right, let's swab our barrel. We're swabbing between every shot again because that's the way the gun's gonna be when we're hunting. It's going to have a clean barrel for our first shot at game. So we want to keep it that way. We're going to swab with rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, however you want to, whatever you want to call it. You know, the problems I've had with this Pedersoli so far, out of a very short time of ownership, it's been a little disappointing. You would think with a brand new gun that you're not going to have these kind of problems. But alas, we have. Each shot I'm going to pick my flash hole liner. Fire in a hole. That's bad. I felt like I flinched on that shot. Shot number 3. I feel like that last shot that I flinched. Misfire. Reprime our pan. Now here, I felt good on that shot. This one I'm pretty sure I flinched. Okay, we're reloaded for shot number 3. Actually, it's shot number 4, but I flinched, as I've affectionately heard some of these guns called Flintlocks. Flinching is a real thing when you've got that first and secondary ignition. Okay, we are reloaded for shot number 3. Misfire. When it fires good. Two shots in the same hole, basically. There's a 3-shot group. This was a flinch. I've had 2 misfires today, and really loaded the pan no different, I didn't think. I brushed it out. I'm brushing my pan between shots. Picking my vent between shots. Okay, that seems very open. I don't know, it's bound to be me. My flint is in the lock good and straight. It's not clipping my barrel. If I look at my lock, it's good and straight. The flint is really good and straight in the lock, in the jaws. That's a pretty good 3-shot group down there. You know, a weird thing, I heard a guy on another Flintlock video call a Flintlock rifle a Flintlock. And he's about right. This is really different from anything else you will ever shoot, because you have 2 ignitions to deal with. Not just the first ignition like a centerfire rifle or a modern rifle. You have that ignition right in your face for the first one to ignite the main charge. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Even a percussion is different than this. Yeah, you have that boom on a percussion, you know, right up near your face, but not with the smoke and the sparks and the flame to the extent you do with this one. We've got a good 3-shot group going down there. I've shot 4 times, but the second shot was a bad flinch on my part. I'm confident. So we're disregarding that shot. And it's doing pretty good. I'm getting a pretty good group down there. I've had 2 misfires. And I don't know, maybe somebody that's more experienced with these Flintlocks than me can give me some pointers, because I've really done nothing no different loading the pan or priming the pan on any of these shots. I've done them all the same. Some of them go off very consistently, and occasionally I'm getting a misfire. All right, let's get reloaded. And a misfire. Let's prime it again. Set trigger's not staying back. Did y'all see that? The set trigger. When I pulled the set trigger, nothing was happening. Okay, it worked that time. Look at that. Decent spark. Okay, right here. That's a 4-shot group. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one was a bad flinch. Okay, we are loaded for our last shot. 20 grains of powder, 3F Schutzen, .018 Piloticking patch, pre-cut, 310 round ball, 4F in the pan. There goes that trigger doing it again. That didn't look too good. Not good. Really good pattern there. That's 4 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 2 way down here. We're done shooting for the day. And this is our 3rd day on the range with the Pedersoli Scout Carbine 32 Flintlock. What's my impressions of it after 3 times on the range? Probably running 40 rounds through it. I don't know. For the gun, for the lock problems I had, even just getting the lock off, and the sharp muzzle, some of the fit and finish is not the best in the world. And the last few shots you saw, now I'm developing a trigger problem, and I'm gonna have to adjust this trigger, I think. The set trigger was not setting the lock. I don't know. This gun is about 4 digit price anywhere you go. And my little Traditions 32 caliber, it's the Traditions Deer Hunter, and it cost about half what this one did. And it's a twice better gun, in my opinion. It loads easily, the muzzle's crowned good. You can almost thumb start a ball with that one right from the box. The barrel on that little Traditions is great. It's a percussion, but, and it shoots really good. And I'm getting, this could very well be user error. But with this gun, it seems like about every 3rd or 4th shot, I either have flinching problems, and that could be getting used to a flintlock. I fully understand that. That's why I say the jury's still out. But it seems like every 3rd or 4th shot, I get either a flyer or a bad flinch, whereas I don't seem to have that problem with my 32 Traditions percussion. Now, I don't have this flash right in my face with my Traditions like I do this flintlock. And that could be the difference. So I'm not going to knock that part of it. It's maybe just me getting used to a flintlock. But I load the pan the same every time today. I loaded it the same every time. And I had 2, 3 misfires, I think, out of 6 shots. I don't know. The jury's still out. I can say this, with the problems I had with the bolts being in the lock so tight, I had to take it to a gunsmith, and you should not have to take a brand new gun, basically. I mean, it had very minimal shots run through it. You should not have to take a basically new firearm to a gunsmith just to get the lock off of it. That should not have happened. But it did, and we dealt with it, and it's over and done, so I'm not going to dwell on that. But saying my initial thoughts on the gun, would I buy this gun again? I don't know. I really don't. I would love to possibly buy a vent liner or a touch hole liner and see if a Traditions touch hole liner would go in my 32 Traditions, where the bolster is, unscrew the bolster and see if a touch hole liner from Traditions would screw in that same hole in those threads, and then get a Flintlock from Traditions or an L&R and put it on that Deer Hunter model and see if it all lined up. But that's an expensive, kind of a little bit pricey thing to do when you don't know that it'll work. I'd love to convert that little Traditions Deer Hunter over to a Flintlock, but I don't know. This gun, for 4 digits paying for it, I expected a little better. I'll just be honest. I expected a little better fit and finish. I expected a little better firing lock. I sure didn't expect to have trouble, couldn't even get the lock off without taking it to a gunsmith, and then him having to drill it, the bolt, to get a lock out, and then have to replace a lock bolt, you know, within a week of owning it. The sights on the gun, I'm having problems seeing them really well. And I think come time to go to the squirrel woods, I don't know if my old eyes are going to be able to see these at decent ranges for shooting squirrels. I do not want to put some dot sights on it, fiber optic or whatever. I want to keep it period correct, but I may have to. I'm having at times, that's why today you saw me shooting right out in the sunlight where I could see these sights. You put me in the squirrel woods in the mornings and I may really struggle seeing these sights. The jury's still out on that. I will say this, I'm going to be looking around at some different sights for this gun. Now, will I buy them and put them on it? I don't know. The jury's still out. I just don't know if I will or not. I would love to keep this full stock, traditional looking Flintlock muzzleloader, traditional looking with the traditional sights. I'm struggling a little bit to see them. And the trigger is so-so. But today it started giving me a little problems with the set trigger. Would I buy this gun again? Probably not. I'll just be honest with you. I would probably keep shopping. But the accuracy may really be there and I may really fall in love with this after I shoot it more. But I've shot it 40 times at least probably now. And with different things experimenting. And I've still not settled on a load. I settled on a load pretty quickly with that old 32 Traditions. It told me pretty quickly what it wanted. This one's being a little more snickerty about what it wants. Just when you think you got something it wants, you start getting the next shot of flyer, and then it shoots 3 or 4 right in there, and the next shot of flyer. And that could be user error. That could be all me. Then again, it could not be. I just don't know. The jury's still out. I need to shoot it more to find out. So, thanks for being with us today as we shot our little Pedersoli again. This was the 3rd time on the range, and like I said, it's already been to a gun doctor once. And I'm still not satisfied with the groups I'm getting, even though today I put a 4-shot group, really nice, but I shot 6 times and 2 of them. One of them was a bad flinch, I know that. The second one could have been, I didn't notice that I flinched that much, if I did at all. Maybe I did, because it hit low and right again. So, we'll see. We'll shoot it some more later. For now, let's go pull this lock off and clean this gun and hot soapy water down the barrel and clean the touch hole and the lock and get it all ready to go back in the gun safe for storage for a few days. Thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it, and I pray God blesses you and your family. Get outside.